Stupid logo. Yeah, that's better. You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look, it is time. I've seen a couple tier lists already, and I have to say, I think it's time for us to bless the streets with the best OP12 Western format tier list you guys ever blessed your eyes on, and that's a fact, not an opinion. Facts.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
But before we start, let me tell you guys this. This is an OP12. Ooh. Hold up. Look, let me repeat myself because people have clogged ears when they come in here. I told you, lack of awareness, so tap in. This is an OP12 meta tier list, which means we're not featuring purple Shanks. Nope. We're not featuring blue-green Sanji. Nope. We're not featuring none of these bullshit decks, so you're not going to be on here. It's literally meta competitive decks. Hey, if you guys do want a rogue tier list, I'll make one, but don't be asking me, well, where's Black Smoker and where's all this other bullshit? Nobody playing that, and you probably will never see it, so it's not getting featured. If you guys want a rogue tier list, let me know. I'll make one, but this is an OP12 meta tier list, and that's a fact, not an opinion. Fact. Let's go ahead and get straight into the video, gang. So welcome back. As you guys see on the screen at this very moment, not only do we have the most craziest looking tiers right here, but we also have all of the meta defining type of cards and also the new leaders from the set, such as the biggest fraud of them all, OP12 Crayola. We're gonna get into her in a little bit. Nonetheless, we have all the leaders. Let's go over all the tiers. If this is your first time watching one of our tier lists, we don't have the regular tiers. What we do have is Shice, A1, Brazy, Cold, and Dog Water. If you guys are still confused, which you should be, because it doesn't have any like tier 1 or S tier or anything like that, let's go all the way back up to the top. The very first tier we have right here is Shice. These are your cream of the crop decks. These are the decks that are pretty much going to be meta, the best of the best. In this particular format, we actually have 3, I would say quite possibly 4, but mainly just 3 topping decks that's literally the best decks of the format, and that's a fact, not an opinion. A1 is right underneath Shice, so pretty much Shice is tier 1. A1, we don't do none of those 1.5s, 2.5s. Motherfucker, we doing you know, tier 1, tier 2, Shice, A1, and that's exactly what A1 is. A1 is pretty much tier 1, and this is the decks that's right underneath Shice. Still good, but you know, it just doesn't, you know, warp the format compared to what Shice does. Brazy is right underneath A1, so Brazy, I would say it could be A1 or even quite possibly Shice power. But the thing about Brazy is that these are the, you know, skill check decks. These are the decks that you have to know the ins and outs of this deck. Pretty much you need to be a very good pilot, a skilled pilot, a Shice pilot. Okay, so that's what Brazy is. It still can compete, but you're gonna have to put a little bit more work into you know, trying to compete with A1 and Shice. Cold is, you know, Cold, look, I'm gonna be real with you, Cold is like tier 4. This is like local level. You know, even then, I mean, if you go, I mean, Cold should really just be Dog Water, and then nonetheless we have Dog right here. These are all the banned cards, all the extra cards I accidentally added to my tier list, and decks that just outright just are trash. Try. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this OP12 Western format tier list. So we can go ahead and start with the Kuzan. So Kuzan, my personal opinion of Kuzan, I feel like you have to be a skilled pilot. I see some crazy things happen from the Kuzan. And it's blue. I feel like anything that you can really just abuse things with blue, and also being able to cheat out and, you know, an extra character with the Garp. Also, that Kuzan is very Shice as well. This Garp Kuzan combo can definitely not be beat, and that's a fact, not an opinion. Just being able to run the broken blue staples such as Gravity Blade, Red Rock, you know, Pudding's also a menace as well. I mean, just anything blue related, you're going to be able to run in this deck, and its ability is also shice as well. So if you guys are a skilled pilot, this might be a deck for you. So for the next deck we do have is Silver's Rally. Silver's Rally is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, a lot of people, including myself, look, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When I first saw this deck, I did not see the support. I do have to say that. I did not see the support, so just basing off this leader off of base value, I called it trash. But until I saw the support, then, you know, it actually, you know, it's literally one of the best decks of the format. I can't deny it. This is the Zoro replacement as well, so if you guys do like that red Zoro type of deck, aggro, you know, fuck your bitch type of deck, you know, this is the type of deck you're going to be playing. But this is a cream of the crop deck. This is a meta defining deck. This is a S tier deck, in my personal opinion. That's a fact, not an opinion. So Silver's Rally, really good deck. So for our next deck, we have the biggest fraud of them all, and it has to be none other than Crayola. Crayola was hyped up to the moon. People said it was the best deck ever created, tier 0. I mean, it's almost like this every single set. It's almost like people are lying to you guys for clicks and views.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop you fucking lying.
OP08 was Marco, OP09 was Shanks, OP010 or OP10 was Black Usopp, OP11 was UI Nami, how broke that is, and now OP012 or OP12, everybody was claiming this is going to be the best deck. And we actually look at the number of tops, 2 tops after 400 tournaments, comparing it to all the thumbnails we see on the screen right now. It really does look like motherfuckers is clickbaiting for views.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Got him.
This literally won 2 tournaments, 2 local kitchen tournaments after like 400 tournaments. Actually pretty pathetic. I wouldn't even want my deck up there if it did that, if that was the case. But you know, it's on here, Crayola. If you guys want to play it, but this shit is a fraud until OP12. Now when OP12 does come here, this deck actually might be really shice going into Emu, so make sure you take note of that. So if you guys are a Crayola fan, you guys might want to be picking that up going into OP13, because this deck actually might do very well into Emu. I don't know, that's just my prediction just for how Emu plays. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get straight to our next S tier deck. Our next S tier deck is quite possibly, it's in contention with the best deck of the format. I feel like this is tied for 1. It's Zoro, Green Zoro. This deck I feel like it's perfect. I mean, Hody Jones didn't get banned. You have all your support with your Mihawk getting dropped down, your just everything in this particular deck. I'm not even going to break down because everybody's talking about this Zoro deck. You guys been seeing what this Zoro deck does. When it comes to best decks in the format, especially since UP Luffy is no longer on this type of you know, list, there's only one other deck that shares this #1 spot in my personal opinion. But Zoro, Zoro has everything. It can attack twice, restand itself, as the Mihawk, cheat out characters, cheat out the 4-drop to be able to use your ability for free, cheat out the 5-drop to be able to use your ability for free. I mean, this leader, if you guys want to be a meta slave, this is definitely the deck to pick up, and that's a fact, not an opinion. Next deck we have right here is Rosie. We're putting that shit right next to his best friend, his BFF, Crayola. We're not even going to talk about that. Blue, purple, Luffy. So we're in, I'm gonna have to put this in cold until I see something. I don't even think this deck should be in cold, just because of how base that leader is. A lot of people are saying, you know, is people are still going to be playing UP Luffy. I feel like people are still going to be using Rosie just because they can use that sugar package. I think it's the sugar package where they use the Dofi and the Rosie cheating out cards. I don't know. I'm not really too sure. We have to play around with this deck. This deck, once it's solved, I feel like it could possibly be in Brazy, to where you have to be a shice ass pilot to be able to contend with A1 and shice. But right now, especially, I don't really see anybody using this deck anymore at this current game state. I feel like, you know, this could be cold until it proves itself. It's probably in the highest, I probably see it being in Brazy. This is the next best deck of the format right here. These 3 decks are pretty much all of your shice decks. These are the meta defining decks. These are your S tier decks of the format. There's nothing else here that's really going to compete with these 3 decks. If you guys haven't noticed as well, one common similar trait trait I've really seen about all three of these decks is that they all rush the board fast. This spits out characters. Zoro can restand itself, attack over and over again, and also GP Luffy with the 6-drop Luffy can restand and attack itself on top of Gum Giant, on top of having its stage. If you guys are asking me which one is better between these three, I don't know, bro. I feel like they're all the same. I feel like these two are on its own level. Then right underneath that is Silver's Rally, but GP Luffy, nothing's happened to this deck. It literally skipped another ban list, so these are going to be the 3 best decks of the format as well. So yeah, that's what we have for GP Luffy. Next deck we have right here is my personal deck. I was trying to put another tier. It says F for Flacko, but this is a D tier tech, a F tier tech. Everybody says this is the F tier deck. I'm gonna be real with y'all. This can be in cold just because it can do something. But if you are playing the deck like how I played in all my videos, this deck could easily be like up here or even behind here. But the thing about this is that you have to play this correctly. And the only way this deck really becomes an S tier, really, if you guys are really shice with the deck, is that new ace from PRB. So, you know, we're not even in PRB right now. That comes out, what, in September, I think, or October. So, and this is exactly what I mean, as this deck can quite possibly be S tier. Very first week of OP13. Look what the #1 standing deck is compared to Ace, Ibu, with the pretty much the power creep, Three Stooges, BY Luffy, 8-0, beating fucking everything. As you guys can see right here, let's not even look at this. Let's go ahead and bring up the sim. Here is the deck list that did end up topping, going 8-0. I mean, like I said earlier, if you are really good with this deck can truly just cook, and that's a fact, not an opinion. Right now, we'll just leave it in cold for, you know, the general population. But if you are shice, this shit can compete with everything, and I've proved it on the channel, okay? Next deck we have right here is hey, everybody point and laugh. Your ass got packed up. Voldemort got packed up. Now you have to learn how to play the game. Oh God, my stomach hurts. So funny. All right, anyways, Katakuri, Yellow didn't really get a buff. We could just put that in dog water, I guess. I don't really see it really doing too much. If Reject would have came back, we probably would be talking right now, but Katakuri's not really doing nothing. Red, Yellow, Bella Betty, I feel like that's still in Brazy. Still a very good deck. The only reason why I could see it being a little bit lower, because this deck is only really up here or even up here, is if the meta calls for it. Last format, the meta calls for this. That's why it was all the way up here. But since there's no longer UP Luffy here, especially since a lot of these other things are Russian, I feel like Brazy is definitely where this needs to be. Sakazuki, this is the hype beast of himself. This is a very decent deck, but let's be real, why would you play this over Lucci? The biggest thing about Sakazuki is the fact that when it was around, it abused Ice Sage, Eruption, and Gecko. The fact that all 3 of these are no longer here, and the fact that this particular deck only truly runs like 4 to maybe 6, or if you're pushing it 7 or 8 counters, 2K counters. This deck is just a worse version of Lucci. Why would you play this for board removal? You could just play Lucci with 5 life. I don't understand. If you guys want to cook like how I cook with BY Luffy, okay. But personally speaking, I'm putting it in Brazy. Actually, I'm not even going to put it in Brazy. I'll put it right next to UP Luffy, because like I said earlier about UP Luffy, these two need to be solved. And even if it is solved, the highest is going is probably Brazy. It's definitely not competing with Bello Betty or you know, Kuza. Anybody tells you anything different, just click the red X in the right hand corner. Next deck we have right here is Pluffy. I feel like Pluffy, I don't really. This is the thing, why would you play Pluffy if GP Luffy's here? That's my biggest thing. Pluffy's cool, but I feel like, I don't know, it has a bricking problem, to be honest with you. I actually don't even see anybody even playing this particular deck at this moment in time. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're a skill pilot, maybe you can, you know, bring it up to one of these tiers, but Pluffy right now, I don't really see it. I'd rather play Gear 5 Luffy over this. You know what I'm saying? Enel, if I have to put a nail, I'll put it in Brazy. I'll put a nail in Brazy. It's just really, really unfortunate at this moment in time because look, my dog's barking. I guess he's yelling at me because I know it is. I didn't say YGOD. I'm on it. I'm on it, Blaze. YGOD, yellow gang or die. YGOD. Shout out to all my delinquents.
Yellow diamond, pick your ring. Call that Delta lemon rock. Cherry boss a lemon bed. My earring size an apricot.
Right now, I'm putting it in Brazy. I feel like it's on the level of a lot of these other decks, my personal opinion. Is it cold? Absolutely not. Shice A1, no. I feel like this is probably the perfect spot for it. Next deck we have right here is Perona. Perona's just going to be in dog water until we get to PRB with the new Gecko Moria. Same thing with Yamato. Yamato's just really not good compared to a lot of these other decks, to be honest with you. So we're gonna put Yamato right there. Reiju's a very good combo centric deck. This is another high skill ceiling deck, and that's the reason why it's going in the Brazy. If you really know how to cook, this deck is very, very shice, and that's that's just my honest opinion. Is it better than Be by Luffy? No, let's put this shit right here. Actually, let's put that shit right here. This shit's right next to Be by Luffy, in my personal opinion. Can it compete? Yes. Do you need to be a very, very skilled pilot? Yes. Are people going to probably play this deck? Probably not. So let's just go ahead and put this right here. Bonnie is our first A1 deck. I've been seeing a lot of other tier lists in the streets put Shyster up here. Bonnie, the biggest thing about Bonnie is Bonnie's going to be good for probably the first week or two, and then it usually falls off a cliff like it usually does. It has that Zoro effect, that red Zoro effect, to where it's the very first week of the meta and nobody really knows what they're playing, so Bonnie's really going to thrive. Once the meta is actually solved, I feel like A1 is definitely where it's going to be. Bonnie's never going to truly be the best deck of the format or something you're preparing against. It's just there. You know it's there, so you better just know your matchup. It's being able to rest everything with its ability. It's being able to still use the 9 cost Zoro and also the Hody Jones that did not get banned. Very crazy. And yeah, A1 deck. There's nothing wrong with it being A1. Next deck, though, I feel like is probably going to be the best deck of A1 is probably Lucci. And I haven't seen no one talk about Lucci, but we look at Lucci's matchup, okay? Lucci blows up the board. Lucci just spins the field as many times as he wants. And when we actually look at Lucci matchup, has a good matchup in the GP Luffy, Zoro, Rayleigh, and Bonnie. Lucci has a good matchup into everything because all you need to do to beat all these decks is blow up the board. And this is the best deck that does that. Yeah, you can use Sakazuki, but why would you use Sakazuki instead of just using Lucci unless you're just a diehard Sokka fan? Let's be real. Next deck we have right here is what, I forgot the name of this. Calgara, my bad. Calgara. How can I forget a YGOD member? Calgara. I have to put this deck right here. There was a couple of decks topping with you know, this particular build in OP12, but we have to wait and see. I can't justify this being any higher than it needs to be. I feel like cold is definitely where it needs to be at, in my personal opinion. The next deck we have right here is Marco. So did Marco get any buffs in OP12? I don't think so, but truth be told, I haven't really seen anybody play Marco right now. I'm gonna have to put Marco right here. This is actually one of my, you know what's funny is that this cold tier list has a lot of my favorite type of decks to watch. I love watching Sakazuki, Marco, Calgara, and Reiju play. I'm really liking this cold section, to be honest with you. I just wish, you know, we get more support, mainly Be by Luffy and everything yellow, Calgara and L. Next deck we have right here is Shanks. So Shanks definitely going A1. Shanks is just a good blanket, a better version of Enel when it comes to board removal. That's the only reason why I will put Shanks over Enel. This is pretty much Enel in red, but it has board removal. You can end off games with the Gold D Roger. It also has some rush cards, well, being a red color. But outside of that, yeah, Shanks, Bonnie, Lucci, A1. Yeah, that shit's looking shice. Next deck we have right here is Lim. Lim is still good, but I'm gonna be real with you, I don't really see anybody playing this deck. This shit was hot and then it fell off just like it did in the East, so I'm not really a believer of this. Next deck we have right here is Gear 5 Luffy. I feel like we could put Gear 5 Luffy in A1 in my personal opinion, just because nothing got hit. That's just my honest opinion. Now, if Gum Gum Giant would have gotten hit, this deck literally falls off a cliff. But since it did not get hit, I feel like it could still be in the back of A1. Is it in the back of the A1 or is it really up here in Brazy? I'll put it in the back of A1. I'll put it back of A1 for right now. We don't really have any other purple decks in here except for GP Luffy, but I could see this being back of A. Actually, let's put this right here, top of Brazy. Let's put it at the top of Brazy. Number 1 of Brazy. You have to be a skilled pilot in order for you to play. Yeah, that's more like it. This is more of a Brazy high skill ceiling type of deck where you actually have to understand what you're doing, especially since you only have 4 life as well. Buggy, I don't know. I'm putting Buggy right here. I don't know where to put Buggy, to be honest with you guys. Definitely on A1, not Shice. I could put it in Brazy. Nothing's really changed. The structure deck's really boosted it to where it's at now, and Buggy's pretty good. I don't really see it being, you know, down here at all. I feel like it has a little bit more of a competitive vibe compared to a lot of these other decks right here. Blackbeard. So if all these other decks that we do have, if you guys could see, Blackbeard actually falls down a little bit. I feel like Blackbeard, I wouldn't want to put it right here, but I feel like it goes somewhere in this section in Brazy. The fact that we have a rushing deck, a rushing deck, a rushing deck, and also a rushing deck. Blackbeard's time in the meta might not be right now. Now when OP13 does come around, when Emu's really going to be spinning the streets, this deck actually might have another resurgence. But for right now, with our current meta, this is as long as these decks are right here at the top, especially with the Shanks, Blackbeard ain't doing shit, and that is a fact, not an opinion. Next deck we have right here is Kobe. We'll put that shit right next to Nami. They're a perfect couple. This is another deck that I'll tell you is a skill ceiling. This is a super skill ceiling deck. In my personal opinion, the 3 hardest decks on this list already has to be Green, Yellow Law, Black, Yellow Luffy, and Blackbeard. They're all on the same level, but I'm putting this in Brazy just because if there is a Shice leader that you guys can really have to be really Shice at to really see it do really well is Green, Yellow Law. The potential's untapped, and that's just because nobody really wants to play it. It requires a lot of work, but you will be rewarded if you know what the hell you guys are doing in the streets. Okay, so Green, Yellow Law, definitely a really good deck in my personal opinion. Next deck we have right here is Smoker. I was seeing some people not even put Smoker up here, which is criminal. Smoker's definitely an A1 deck in my personal opinion. I mean, I don't think it really even got anything in OP12. It's just by itself, Smoker just being able to restand on top of the 5-drop as well, just being able to restand all that dom manipulation, and you could still play Hody Jones and the rushing cards. This deck is always going to be, it's like this deck kind of reminds me of Bonnie, where it's always just going to be good as long as something like Hody Jones doesn't get hit in the future. Uses cap this Kid. I guess we could put, Kid was actually topping, wasn't he? So let's put him right here, and we'll put Anel down. Actually, yeah, let's put Anel at the top of Cold. It's just the thing about Anel, we're not even talking about Anel, we're talking about Kid. The thing about Kid is that it did show up in OP12's CS. So since it did, I think it was only once or twice, but since it did, I did have to put this deck right here. That is a fact, not an opinion. We have 2 Kobes here. Let's put another Kobe right here. UI Nami. Let's go ahead and lower this real quick. So for UI Nami, we could put UI Nami. Let's just put it in Cold. This is another untapped deck. I feel like a lot of people are hyping up this deck going into OP11, and people realize that, you know, they would actually have to put in work to solve the deck, and people are so fucking lazy. They just say, nope, I'm not doing that. I want something that's free and easy, and that's why they picked UP Luffy. But I feel like there's some, you know, some hidden potential here of this UI Nami. Look, I played against somebody in the East with this deck, and he was cooking. He was cooking. Next deck we have right here is Katakuri. I'm gonna put Katakuri right here just because this is a very good deck. You just have to be a skill pilot. This is just another one of these skill pilot type of decks, and a lot of people don't even know how to play against this deck as well. So that's the reason why I'm putting Katakuri right here. We actually take a look at everything. This is my tier list. I don't really see anything else, you know, that we can really go over here. I mean, everything else, this looks pretty solid in my personal opinion. The only thing I'll probably change maybe is, actually, I don't know what I would change. This looks perfect. The best decks in the format: GP Luffy, Zoro, Rayleigh. A1 is Lucci, Smoker, Bonnie, and Zoro. You know what's crazy is Lucci has a good matchup into everything. Isn't that crazy? It literally has a good matchup in everything. That's why I said, like, Lucci might even make its way all the way up to right here, because it could just blow up the field. I mean, the biggest thing about all these decks is that they lose the board removal. So yeah, even I was about to call him Sasuke. Sakazuke might even be able to do something since there's so many decks that just lose to removal. So yeah, that's all I got. This is my tier list for the OP12 Western format. And yeah, let me know below what you guys think, man. Like I said, no favoritism. I'm just calling it how I see it. And I even play my personal own deck down here because realistically speaking, I mean, unless you're like me or some other 5 other Shice players playing this, this leader ain't going to do shit. So yeah, that's all I got. Tell me below what you guys think of this tier list. I feel like this is the most accurate one. And this is all I got. But look, before I go, if you was feeling the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll go.